Amanda Turkle, Washington bureau chief of the Huffington Post. Adrian Elrod is former director of strategic communications for Hillary for America. Matt Schlapp is chairman of the American Conservative Union. Amanda, a little tongue-tied action there by the Republican candidate for governor down there. He didn't seem to want his kids to talk. I was with some school teachers this weekend up in Rhode Island, and at least 5 of them told me separately, each individually, they can't get their kids under control because they just say when they call somebody a bad name or misbehave, hey, the president does it. And this is for real cases, yes.
Right, and he's putting all that bad stuff out there on Twitter. I mean, Ron DeSantis is in a weird place. He ran as trying to be the most Trump candidate in the primary, and it helped him win. Trump campaigned for him, he endorsed him, but now he has to do something different to win the general election. A third of Florida voters are not registered with a political party, and Trump is down there spewing conspiracy theories about hurricanes. Yeah. That doesn't play in Florida.
Adrian?
Look, here's the bottom line. The Republican Party is now the Republican Party of Donald Trump. So you saw those guys who tried to get, distance themselves.
They're not going to sell us behavior in schoolrooms.
No, but they're not. So they're
hey, Matt, how do you deal with this guy? You wouldn't tell your kids to act like that. Nobody would. Act like Trump. Just say, act like Trump.
Look, there are a lot of...
There we go. Talk about the embassy movement. What the hell? Just bring up the embassy. What the hell?
Yeah.
You guys want all the answer for me? I'm good with it.
I'll give you the Republican answer. We move the embassy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Look, every human being has virtues and vices. And Donald Trump has great virtues for Republicans and conservatives who feel like we lose a lot of the big cultural battles and a lot of the big battles about the size and scope of government. And then he has the vices, which is he says things in politics that offend people. And sometimes he's over the line with some of his comments. And I think actually the voters kind of get that. He fights so hard, sometimes he fights a little too much. And they maybe like to, even his own supporters, every once in a while want him to say, like, look, you're winning. And he is winning, by the way. He's doing pretty well. The economy's doing great. The American people, 40% of them feel like the country's on the right track.
I thought the question was his behavior. You like it?
I do.
You do like his behavior?
I do like his behavior.
Really?
Yes, and there's much to Donald Trump that I would love my kids to emulate, including the fact that when he wants...
Okay, let's start with this, because he says some things that are wrong, that are objective. He said he's going to pass a big Republican middle-class tax cut before the election. Congress is out for the year.
Yes.
What does he mean by that?
Who knows?
I think he meant his election, but that's fine.
No, that's not.
Like, we have no idea what he's talking about. Ask the White House. They're like, we have no plans for this middle-class tax cut. It's not happening. He's just lying.
Let's talk about Cruz. Let's talk about Cruz. This president has called his father a Kennedy assassin. Is that something you just sort of kiss off and say, well, that was just campaigning?
I told you, this is, I'm married to a Cuban American, and this is not really something that I understand in terms of what Ted Cruz's father did or didn't do. The fact is this. They said terrible things about each other in this primary contest. They got through it, and here's the thing that I know...
But some people believe what Trump says. Isn't there a problem with the president?
I do.
You believe Ted Cruz's father killed Kennedy?
No, I do not believe it.
Well, you said you believe Trump. What is it?
Look, this is where you guys are...
Why do you laugh at this stuff?
I'm not laughing.
It's outrageous.
Others are laughing. I'm not laughing. But I think that the point is with Trump is that you guys all get stuck.
Okay, you guys. Okay, let's start with you guys.
Wrong.
Adrian, be one of you guys for a second. Go ahead, take them on.
Look, I'm just going to simply say here that the Republican Party, they have to embrace Trump. And if you're Ted Cruz, who's in a really tight re-election right now, the only way you're going to win is to have Donald Trump endorse you and aggressively campaign for you. Right. And that is not just in Texas. We're seeing this in races across the country. Dean Heller in Nevada, for example. This is the Republican Party of Donald Trump.
I embrace it. It's the truth, which is those who have fought Trump, Corker, Flake, saw their approval ratings torpedo in their states, and they had to retire.
But
so
it's also
true
gross that
we're more unified than we've ever been.
It is.
I mean, Trump, father aside, Trump also talked about how ugly Ted Cruz's wife was. Yeah. And I mean, Trump, I'm sure, loves this. It's all of these candidates who insulted him.
And Obama and Hillary, they just loved each other. They all got along.
They were not doing personal insults like this, Matt, come on.
Like this.
That is ridiculous.
There were no personal insults.
Do you remember that Hillary Clinton press conference? Stop lying about me, Barack Obama. Come on. That
is not even comparable.
And what about Barack Obama going on the campaign trail and saying it would be dangerous if Republicans did well in November?
You cannot even. These
that's
are
a
apples here. There's no comparison.
So you're down with Trump. You're down with Trump all the way. All the way.
What does that mean, all the way? Do I think every word he says is magnificent and beautiful? No. Do I
making fun of people's looks. Where are you on that one?
I don't think we should make fun of people's looks.
How about saying things that aren't true?
Of course we should say things that are true, and I think you're
right. I'm with you.
You're getting caught up in.
I'm getting caught up.
You're getting. Okay.
I'm trying to figure this guy out because he is getting away with this stuff.
No, the policies.
Yes.
You know the policies he's right on.
Because people like you
He's
forgive
right on
him.
the policy. Not just me. A lot of people.
I think
the leaders of your party do not have the guts to stand up to him.
Right. Because he's more popular
Why would
than
you
they are.
stand up to a guy who is succeeding so extravagantly?
I think he wins because he hates the people, or he seems to hate the people that his people hate. Anyway, the roundtable sticking with us to protect transgender Americans. Let's watch.
Mr. President, what about your promise to protect transgender Americans? Are you giving up on that?
We're looking at it. We have a lot of different
looking at redefining
concepts right now. They have a lot of different things happening with respect to transgender right now. You know that as well as I do, and we're looking at it very seriously.
But what about your promise to protect the LGBTQ community?
Protecting everybody.
Transgender Americans,
you know
you're
what
giving
I'm
up on
doing?
them.
I'm protecting everybody. I want to protect our country.
If someone either surgically or non-surgically changes their assigned gender, why would the government want to get in the way of that in a free society? Amanda.
Because they don't want to provide the civil rights protections to them. That's what the Trump administration is trying to do. Right. I mean, the Obama administration expanded these protections. There are about 1.4
Where does it
million
work? Where does it impact in
who
real
have
life?
this.
Where would a transgender person confront the loss of rights under this new program?
Public restrooms. If you're in school and you want to play on a sports team that's different than your assigned gender, you would face that too. Single-sex schools, you face it all over, just how you're perceived. You know, if you're trying to present yourself as a certain gender and you have a driver's license that says something else, it takes away their basic rights. In the Trump administration, it's interesting this is being trotted out a couple weeks before the election.
Let me be practical. Do you want somebody who is transgender and assigns themselves as a female walking into a men's room? It seems like this thing works against common sense. You should let people go where they present because that creates more tranquility and people have a normal life. They don't even know the person's transgender most of the time. But under this, you'd have to go where God made you in the beginning. You have to show up that way, going into what would seem to be the wrong person's bathroom. I'm just being practical.
Look,
I'm trying to find common ground here.
Let's be practical also. I think there's no policy change yet, but the question is on Title IX, which was a desire to have equality when it came to women's sports, especially in college. How do you help women's sports if you're not defining people as women?
Okay, let me tell you something.
A very fair question.
My wife played for the national championship Stanford tennis team, and women on the team had to pay for all any travel to another team.
But not the guys.
Not the guys.
That's right.
We got to change that stuff. Thank you. Amanda Turkle, Adrian Elrod, and Matt Schlapp. I'm married to an athlete.